Most people think that winning an argument is about giving savage replies. Well, that might be a part of it, but I assure you that it's way deeper than that. And that's exactly what I'll be teaching you in this video. First of all, here's what winning doesn't mean. It doesn't mean proving the other person's wrong, or dominating the conversation, or simply just sounding smarter. Just saying things continuously without any meaning, just so you can prove yourself that you've got a lot to say and you're smarter than the other person. You need to understand that winning is not even about facts, or who gives the most logics, or who is the smartest person, or even who is the right one in that situation. It is more about identity, ego, and emotional safety. Once you understand the psychology, you're already winning. So basically, arguments are emotional battles disguised as logical conversations. So winning doesn't always look like proving yourself right. It can also look like building a better relationship, because some arguments strengthen the relationship while some break it completely. It could also mean reaching to a practical solution, reaching a common ground between the two people. Being understood clearly and being mature also means knowing that you can be right and you can still lose. You can stay calm and still be logical and be the right one. And you can also walk away whenever you want. The first reason is ego threat. People feel like you're attacking their ego, their identity, and the brain switches to defense mode. The logic shuts down and survival mode turns on. The second reason is identity protection. People often take it personally. They make the belief a part of their identity because they can't differentiate between their belief and their own self. So for example, if you go and tell a smoker that smoking is bad for you and all of that, and if they respond with excuses to prove that smoking is not that bad, it might be because they get offended because it's a part of who they are. They are a smoker. So they might feel personally offended because now you're not arguing with facts, but attacking their identity. The third reason is emotional contagion. A calm scenario creates a calm scenario, but once someone raises their voice, it creates an emotional trigger. So people start to raise their voice, things get heated up, and you both lead to angrier tones, and that tone speaks a lot more than the actual words. And the fourth reason is cognitive overload. So once things start to heat up, there is a lot of emotional stress. So instead of giving long explanation, try to give short, precise answers. So instead of going directly to logic as well, try to create a mutual understanding between both people. Now here's why smart people often lose the argument. So even if you're the right one and you lost an argument, there might be something you need to know. First of all, it's not even about logics, it's about emotions. So once you understand that it's more about connecting with people and reaching a common ground, you start to win automatically. Secondly, you try to over-explain. People are really not interested to know your point of view when they're trying to defend their beliefs, and most importantly, their identity. So try to form a connection and be more emotional and know that it's a vulnerable situation, so act accordingly. And the biggest mistake is to try to sound smart and not understandable. They try to speak too fast or speak quickly, answer quickly, and just try to say stuff. Doesn't matter how much value it's actually adding. So instead of trying to sound intelligent, actually be intelligent by being calm, responding intelligently, and most significantly, understanding the other person. So in a nutshell, if you want to lose an argument, here's what you do. First, you raise your voice. Number two, interrupting the other person. Before even they get a chance to speak and express their point of view, you interrupt them and try to be more dominating, which is actually such a stupid thing to do in that situation. Number three is attacking character over a belief. So the best way, according to me, in these situations is to ask someone the fundamental of their beliefs. Like if someone is like, I support this particular political party, and you don't support that, you're against that. So you might ask why exactly do you support this party? Challenge their core belief, the main reason why someone believes in something. Bringing unrelated past issues. This thing is so manipulative because it shifts the attention from the actual point of the argument to something different, and it's often used by manipulators to change the topic. So don't fall for this trap, and don't do this yourself as well. Another one is using sarcasm or mockery. I personally don't recommend this at all. You might resort to sarcasm to like sound more savage or whatever you want, but just don't do this. Be logical and understand the other person, most importantly. Saying cool stuff and sounding smart might be the most appealing thing in that moment, but in the long term it completely breaks the relationship, and also it changes the whole image of yours in front of the other people. So you should abide by 3 main rules. Be calm, stay calm in whatever situation, don't raise your voice, don't emotionally trigger the other person. Second, listen carefully. Before speaking, don't interrupt the other person mainly, but also listen to them, try to understand them, and find a mutual belief, some actual point you both agree to, find like a common thing between you both. And thirdly, understand the vulnerability of the situation, challenge the belief and not the identity. How do you control an argument? First of all, control your physiology. Slow your breathing, take a deep breath before saying anything, or when you're getting too overwhelmed. Then lower your voice, choose a calm tone. And number 3, be still. Don't move a lot, and especially focus on your body language. Don't point or stare intensely or like use some offensive body language, because body language matters more than what you say. Secondly, control your pace. Pause before responding. But don't try to speak too fast to be the more dominant one. Instead, pause before you say something. Give yourself the time to think so you don't say something damaging in the spur of the moment. Control the focus. Don't move to past issues or change topics continuously. Focus on the point, focus on the beliefs, share your perspectives, and don't like beat around the bush. Keep it short and valuable. And number 4, control the way you frame your arguments. It's not a you versus me problem, but a problem versus solution kind of thing. So change more emotionally reactive sentences to more neutral ones. This is the best part of this video, I would say. Psychological communication tools that really work. First of all, validation without surrender. You can agree with the other person and also state your own point. Yes, both of these things are possible simultaneously. So use phrases like, I completely agree with you, and here's what I think about this idea. Mirroring. You have to reinstate their point. For example, if the person said that they think about this and that, so you first of all you reinstate your point that yeah I agree that you think like this, and this is what I think about the same thing. So it proves that you're listening to them first of all, and that you are also agreeing with them, and like you're not like trying to attack their identity, but trying to understand them and also keep your point up front. Number 3 is to ask strategic questions. Asking good questions which actually leads to something constructive is so underrated in arguments, because once you ask a good question which challenges your beliefs and their core thinking, as I mentioned earlier, it reinforces the logic instead of the identity issue. And the last thing is reframing. So if someone tries to be offensive or tries to attack you in some way verbally, or is like going off the topic or trying to make things worse intentionally, here's what you do. You try to stay calm in that situation. I know it's hard, but you gotta do that. And you like understand them, as I mentioned earlier, find a common ground, build a mutual understanding, and deepen that relationship at that point, and make it very clear that you're not trying to attack them or damage their image, but rather just trying to explain your point and trying to understand them at the same time. Now, there are also some situations where walking away is the best thing, with some people who want reaction, not a resolution. People who just want to win and not know the truth. So in these cases, it's better to walk away and protect your inner peace. And walking away is not always resigning, but sometimes it's a sign of maturity and emotional intelligence and being the bigger person. So choose your self-respect above everything else. Let me conclude this video by saying that the person who wins an argument is not the one who always speaks the most, but the one who can control herself as well as the situation. So thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.